Ever wonder what the hidden code is that makes a workplace either amazing or just awful? It's not always about the product or the big strategy. So often, it really just comes down to the people. Today, we're going to dive into organizational behavior, which is pretty much the science of how we all work together.
So, let's kick things off with a question I'm pretty sure we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why is one job a place you actually look forward to going to, while another just feels like a total grind? Well, the answer isn't just luck or some kind of corporate magic. It's actually a science, and that science is called organizational behavior. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll break down what organizational behavior even is. Then we'll look at the 3 levels it uses for analysis, touch on 4 key management models, see what science it's all built on, and finally, bring it all together to see what it means for work today. Let's jump in.
All right, so think of your company like it's a computer. You've got the hardware, right? The building, the desks, the equipment, but what actually makes it run? That's the software, the operating system. Well, organizational behavior, or OB for short, is basically that hidden operating system for people at work.
Okay, so here's the official textbook definition. But the key word here, the one I really want you to focus on, is systematic. This means it's not just about guesswork or, vibes. OB is a real science. It uses data and evidence to figure out why people do what they do at work. And once you understand that, you can start building workplaces that are not just more effective, but honestly, just better places to be.
And this is why it's so incredibly important. I mean, when you get this stuff right, you see a boost in literally everything, from how motivated people are to how productive they are. You get less conflict, better leaders, and you build a culture where people actually want to show up and do great work. It's a total game changer, for real.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, OBs uses what I like to call a zoom lens approach. It examines behavior at 3 very distinct but totally interconnected levels. Let's start by zooming all the way in.
First up, we're zooming right down to the individual employee. This is ground zero. At this micro level, it's all about what makes each one of us tick as a person. We're talking about things like our unique personality, how we perceive the world around us, how we learn, what truly motivates us, and just our general attitudes towards our job.
Here's a classic example, right? You've got 2 people with the exact same job. One is totally on fire, super motivated, and the other one is just, they're just punching the clock. OB helps us figure out why. Is it a personality clash? Do they feel like they're being treated unfairly? Or maybe the job just doesn't align with their personal goals?
All right, now let's zoom out just a little bit, from the individual to the group or the team.
So here, we're no longer just looking at one person in isolation. It's all about how people interact with each other. How does the team communicate? Who's the leader? And what's their style? How do they handle disagreements? All the little power dynamics that can make a project either a huge success or a complete failure. I mean, we've all seen this play out, haven't we? You get a bunch of really smart, talented people together on a team. Sometimes it's pure magic, and other times it's a total disaster. This level of analysis helps explain why, by looking at factors that go way beyond just the skills of each individual person.
Okay, for our last stop, we're zooming all the way out to get that 30,000-foot view, the entire organization as one big system.
This is the macro level, the big picture. Here, we're talking about the company's culture. You could almost think of it as its personality. We're looking at its structure, all the official rules and policies, and the HR systems that control everything from who gets hired to who gets promoted.
And honestly, this level might just be the most powerful of all. Think about it. A fantastic culture can elevate everyone, making them better. But a toxic culture? Man, it can drag down even the most talented individuals and the best designed teams. These 3 levels, they all work together to paint the full picture of a workplace.
Okay, so we've got these 3 levels of analysis, but how does a manager actually use this knowledge? Well, that brings us to 4 classic models of management, and they really show an incredible evolution in how we think about leading people.
This table it tells a story of how our thinking about management has totally changed over time. It all started with the autocratic model. Basically, do what I say because I'm the boss. The motivation? Fear. Then we moved to the custodial model, where companies figured out, hey, if we give people good pay and benefits, they'll stick around. But then things got really interesting with the supportive and collegial models. Suddenly, leaders are coaches, not bosses. Employees are partners, and the motivation shifts completely from fear and dependency to a real sense of participation, teamwork, and even self-discipline. It's a massive change.
So you might be thinking, okay,
This is pretty cool, but where did all these ideas come from? Well, OB didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's an interdisciplinary science that's really built on the shoulders of giants.
The thing is, OB is this amazing blend, a real melting pot of some major social sciences. We pull from psychology to understand what motivates us as individuals. We look to sociology to understand how organizations and groups function. Social psychology teaches us about influence and communication, and anthropology gives us a deep understanding of culture and values. It's this powerful combination that makes OB so insightful. All right, let's bring it all home. How does this theory actually apply to the modern workplace, to the jobs we have right now?
You know, when you look at work today, it's this crazy mix of big challenges and huge opportunities. We're dealing with globalization, constant tech changes, and that never-ending quest for work-life balance. But the principles of OB show us how to reframe these things. A diverse global team? That's a huge source of innovation. New tech? It can empower employees with amazing flexibility. OB gives us the playbook for turning those pressures into real progress.
And just to be clear, this is not just abstract academic stuff. It's happening all around us. Anytime you see a company working on leadership development or trying to improve its diversity management or creating new motivation strategies, that is OB in action, right there in the real world.
So if there's one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. After all the business plans are written and all the numbers are crunched, the ultimate success of any organization comes down to its people. Understanding people isn't some nice-to-have soft skill. It is the critical competency for success in business, period.
And that brings me to one last question for you to think about. Look, as automation and AI continue to reshape our jobs, taking over more of the technical stuff, these very human skills we've been talking about, leadership, communication, teamwork, they're not just important, they're becoming our greatest asset. So the real question is, which of these uniquely human skills will be the ones that truly define the future of work?